This is a picture of my father and mother. My mother and father met each other in Bermuda, and at that particular time they were sitting in a horse-drawn cart because they didn't have automobiles on the island. That was a long time ago. And my mother worked for the Canadian railroads, and my father, at his young age, liked to travel. He went to Veracruz, Mexico, and down to New Orleans, and New York, and ended up in Bermuda. And what a wonderful thing, considering they didn't have automobiles there and everything at that particular time. But people were much more adventurous in that day. I wanted to show you another picture over here too. And this is a picture of Ronald Reagan. And oh, by the way, we've got a whole big new selection of books here too that just goes on and on and on. And people like the selection. And I put little stories up here about different native stories about the ghost dance, and we've got them scattered all over the store. But anyway, the picture of Ronald Reagan is signed by him, and it says, "I knew your father well." It's not that my father and Ronald Reagan were the best of pals, but I'm going to go back over here too. But what happened was, my father worked for the Wilshire Country Club as a maitre d' for many, many, many years. And years ago, when he first came out here, he took the train from New York out to California. He got himself a little job, and he went back to New York, picked up the whole family and the old Buick that we used to be very proud of. It was so huge, and drove all the way out here to California with the folks. And I remember it took 13 days and 13 flats, because the roads were really terrible in those days. And he came all the way out here. We stayed with my Uncle Joe for several weeks, and then he was working, and we went over, and somehow I was able to buy this little house on Esmeralda Avenue in El Monte. This was at the end of a dirt road and gravel driveway. And what I'm leading up to here about is that people used to be a whole lot more adventurous and willing to do things that today people would sneer at and say, "Oh my God, how can you even consider doing that at all?" But later he left the Wilshire Country Club. There was some sort of a union dispute, and he went to work for the racetracks. He worked in the President's Room in Santa Anita, and then at Hollywood Park he was a captain. He went down to Del Mar, and he was an ordinary waiter. And he used to always say to me, he says, "I'm no more than a waiter." That's just, he was very, wasn't pretentious or anything. But he did meet Ronald Reagan and Howard Hughes and Bing Crosby, Bob Hope, and a lot of producers. And I remember the Wilshire Country Club was in an area in Los Angeles at the time that was restrictive for black people to live in the area. And Nat King Cole, who my dad said was he met, and he said was a wonderful man, wanted to buy a house there, and all the neighbors, "Oh, we can't have them living in our neighborhood." And thank heaven all of that has changed, because things have changed. Now I'm leading up to something here, and that is that we expect now just a multitude of things. We have certain things here, like this is little angels in a pendulum, and we had a lady that came in here that wanted to see more. Well, at that particular time we had a gigantic selection out here, which all sold. And so we brought them out of the back, and she says, "Well, can you get them out of the back? And can you get this out of the back? And can you get that out of the back?" And she covered this whole table here with all this different stuff that she wanted out of the back. It's always better out of the back. And we really don't do that, because basically it is the same as the stuff that is out there. But out of the back seems to always be better because it's for me. And this was something that I really considered of value. Well, there's nothing wrong with wanting special attention, and there's nothing wrong with wanting things out of the back, as long as people can accommodate you. But the shopping agenda has changed in so many places, and little small stores try to accommodate customers. I know my father, when he was working as a waiter, he used to say that a lot of people demand special privilege or special treatment, even though they really don't deserve special treatment or special services, just because the fact they might have a little bit more money than somebody else does. And years later, I went to work in the grocery business, and I was in the meat industry. And there was a story about a lady that came into a meat market, and she went up to the butcher and she says, "Butcher, I want you to cut for me a nice piece of salmon." He had a beautiful piece of salmon. And she says, "Okay, how much would you like?" And she says, "Cut, cut, 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 cut." So he's cutting, cutting, cutting. And this one's okay? "No, no, no, cut, cut, cut." So he's cutting more. He thought, "Oh my goodness, this is a big sale." Cut, cut, cut. So he got to the center, and she said to him, "I want the next 2 cuts." Well, okay, she wanted the next 2 cuts, but then he said to her, "Well, those are going to cost more because I had to cut all these other pieces." "Oh, no, 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 no. I want the best, and only the best. I'm not going to pay more because, after all, you're a store, and I demand the best." Well, my father told me that one thing in dealing with service people is that you never really rub them the wrong way, because in the long run, those people are really going to help you out a lot or hinder you a lot. He told me the story about, he says, in a restaurant, if you ever go in a restaurant and you're not happy with the food, simply say to the server or to the waiter or the waitress or whomever, "This is so good, I want to take it home for my brother or sister or family or whomever. But what I'd like to order is another thing off the menu. I'd like to have something else." And essentially what you have not done is you've not irritated the chef or the people that are working in the back room, because if you send something back, out of sight, out of mind, you have no idea what's going to happen to that food. And you're going to eat that food. Or if you go to treat somebody, like in our little store, like that lady said, she says, "Oh, I want that out of the back, and this out of the back, and this out of the back, and get me this and get me that." Next time she comes in the store, what's going to happen is she's going to say, "Do you have any more?" And I'm going to say to her, "Gee, I've got a display of 20 here at this particular time. I don't have any more. You know, will these work?" And I'm sure she's going to buy what's already out here, but she wants you to get it out of the back. So if you're trying to get things out of the back, what you're really doing is harming yourself. Because the customer, unless you're shopping at a really, really, really expensive place, then what's going to happen is they're not going to find for you the center cut that you want. But if you're treating them well, and if you're giving them, and he says tip everybody, and if you're tipping them, and if you're treating them with courtesy and respect, you'll find that they'll take those center cuts right out of the piece of salmon, and they'll put it aside for you, as we do in the store. We find nice crystals, we put it aside for our special customers. And that's true in all of business, and that's true in life too. Because just like they say in the Bible, to the degree that you treat others, it comes back to you. To the degree that I forget what the heck it says in the Bible. But anyway, if you want to treat people badly, in the end you get treated badly too. So anyway, that's kind of my story. Kind of a roundabout about treating people nice, because after all, indirectly it treats you nice too. Thank you.